Let me explain to you how the dimensions play out and why understanding how the dimensions play is really very important to each of us. Because when you can have a sense of the rules and the structures of each one of these third, fourth, and fifth dimensions, you have an understanding that allows you to step out of much of the emotional baggage that we each carry around. Have you ever played a game when you didn't understand the rules of the game? Now, you might get very lucky at the game, but if you continue to play the game without understanding the rules, you're going to find yourself in generally an awkward situation. Very few people remember the rule book when they came into the body, the rule book that said, here's how the game works. Very few people read it. So we walk through this third dimensional reality, fourth dimensional reality. They overlap. And we play the game without understanding the rules. So let's treat the third, fourth, and fifth dimension for simplicity as a box. And each box has its rules and structures to it. In each one of these boxes, there is something called form. The earth, the chair, the house that we live in. This is form. This is not third dimension, fourth dimension. This is the staging, the props, the backdrop for you to have your experience. The house you live in provides warmth for an experience. No house, no warmth. A very different experience. So let's start with this third dimensional box. The third dimension is very rigid. It is conditional. There is nothing unconditional in the third dimensional box. It has an aspect of time that we play in called linear time. Past, present, future, then you die. That's it, period, end of discussion. Well, actually, there is more discussion to it. But in third dimension, that's pretty much how it works. The third dimension operates in duality. Good, bad, right, wrong, should, shouldn't. In that context, there is a tremendous emotion called fear in the third dimension. And so there is an uncertainty about how to move around in the third dimension. There is a hesitation, there is doubt, there is pause, there is, I think this is right, I'm not sure, and then you get to play the game in that third dimensional space. Third dimension is like playing the game without understanding the rules, more often than not. When you step into a third dimensional space, when you play in the third dimensional space, there are some very specific things that happen. This space of linear time, past, present, future. In the third dimension, you spend very, very, very little time in present time. Most of your time is spent in the past and in the future. We have a set of experiences in the past, let's call them good experiences. Somebody says, here's how you're going to be successful. And we say, okay, we accept that experience. And then we begin to project it out into the future, and then we build our present time moments on accomplishing that future. But there's another side to that, which is, what about the many, many times where you were trying to understand yourself, experience yourself, figure yourself out, you step into an experience and you embarrass yourself, or at least that's what you were told. Or you step into an experience and somebody says, that was stupid, don't you get it? What's wrong with you? The emotions that get created in that judgment and opinion and gift that somebody gave you, you're not okay, here, carry this around. And we do. In that set of judgments, we many times stop exploring. That didn't work, I'm not going to do that again. And we begin to create rigid structures of good and bad and right and wrong. I can't do that, that didn't work, I'm embarrassing myself, so I never try that out again. I never realized, gee, I was actually quite successful. Somebody else didn't see it that way. So what we do in this third dimensional space quite often is we take that failure, that embarrassment, that uncomfortableness, and we project it out into the future, and we say to the universe, universe, I didn't like that, I was embarrassed, my feelings were hurt. Please don't let me ever accidentally fall into that again. And so we scream to the universe, put big red flags up, warn me, so I don't have that experience again. The challenge in the third dimension is there is a consideration called the law of attraction. Now, the law of attraction is ridiculously simple, but it is flawless. It functions perfectly. The law of attraction says very clearly, what you put your attention on, I, the universe who adores you, who will provide for you, who will not second guess you because you're the creator being, I, the universe, will provide exactly what you ask for, exactly what you put your attention on. The challenge is, the universe doesn't understand English and French and Spanish and German and all the ways we generally communicate in words. What the universe understands is, how are you holding your thoughts and your emotions in your energy field? And so you wake up in the morning and saying, this is going to be a great day. This is really wonderful. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, 1,000 times. And then you end it with, but. And see, the but is, I'm uncertain. I'm afraid. I'm scared. I really hope that thing way out there in the future doesn't come up into my reality today. And so we hold our vibrations. Remember that you're not okay? We hold that I'm not okay in such a way that the universe recognizes your attention point. And so we deal with this not okay in a third dimensional way in a very specific consideration. We basically get told, here's a gift, you're not okay. And then we accept the gift as a kid, as an adult, and it doesn't feel very good. And so I'm off balance. I don't like it. I thought the joke I told was very funny, and then I realized they were laughing at me, not with me. And so that doesn't feel very good. And you can't carry this around consciously very long. So in the third dimensional space, what we do is we put it over here in this little box called denial. It's gone. It's not there anymore. It's not something I have to deal with, we say. And yet it's still kind of nagging. So then we do the next best thing. We say to this little box of denial, I'm going to put you back here in my backpack, and I'm going to make a deal with you. If I never go over there by those people where I told that joke and they laughed at me, you never jump out and bite me. And so we take this box of denial and we put it in our backpack to never be seen again. But what we've just done is, in conditionality, we just said, I'm going to draw a line, I'm not going over there. And then something else doesn't work another day, and I'm not going to go over there. And then something doesn't get approved, and it's like, that didn't work, I'm not going to go over there. Have you ever seen people like this? And you say, hey, would you like to go out to lunch? And they go, yeah, no, actually no. Why? Well, because I might have to go over there. And if I go over there, I might bump into something that I don't want to look at ever again. Does it make any sense? In the third dimension, by not understanding the rules of the game, we wind up getting trapped, and to a great extent, it is as simple as, here's a gift. You're not okay. And then we walk around for the rest of our life trying to figure out, what did I do wrong? Third dimension. Now, remember again, the earth, the house, the chair are the backdrops and the trappings. Also, in reality of your experience, all of those people who said you're not okay and you're wonderful and I love you and I hate you, all of that is also part of the experience that we all came here to play in. But that third dimension is not the only game that we get to play in. So one of the characteristics specifically about the third dimension, keep in mind linear time, and in that process, linear time, there is this present time moment. And the present time moment is, oh my God, this wasn't supposed to happen. Present time. You're right now, but you're in a reactionary state. When you step into the fourth dimension, the game, the rules actually change pretty significantly, but it looks subtle on the surface. In fourth dimension, there is present time, only present time. It's not a linear thing. It's here I am, right now. Just as I'm talking to you, here I am, and here you are, right now. Here we are, right now, right now. Now that first two right nows have just slipped into the past, and you are still right now, present time. So you move through present time. Actually, time and space move through you. Now, that's a bigger topic for the next conversation we're going to have in a few minutes. But right now, present time, being very simple, is here I am, right here. Now, there's a couple of characteristics that come into play in the fourth dimension that make opportunity happen. One of the things in present time, in the fourth dimension, you have choice. In the third dimension, you have reaction. In the fourth dimensional space, somebody says, what would you like to have for dinner? Pizza or a steak? And you say, let me think about this. In present time, I choose pizza. So you have a choice. It's not a reaction. You have a choice. Choice is a really big thing to play with, as you'll experience as we go forward. But also in the fourth dimension, there is an odd word to somebody, to many people, and the word is called paradox. Paradox is a really big deal. Paradox simply says, what was true a moment ago may not be true in this moment. And what was false a moment ago may not be false in this moment. Very simple. So here you are, present time, choice. And your ability to choose what was true and what was not true, because you've added flexibility, mobility, fluidness to a great extent into your box. So the fourth dimensional box is not as rigid. It has a little bit of movement. So something happened in my past. In the third dimension, words like always and never. She is always going to be bad. He stole from me and he's never going to be an okay person. Always and never are pretty rigid conditional structures. Paradox allows some fluidness into that. So when she was young, she was in a lot of pain and lied and did bad things. But as she grew up, and I haven't seen her for a long time, she began to get her experiences and her reality together. One day she shows up on your front porch, and you open the door, and you say, I remember you. In third dimension, you are that bad one, and get off my porch. Period. Third dimension. Fourth dimension, you remember her, and how can I be of assistance? And all of a sudden, a conversation starts where, do you remember I did this, and I really have come to apologize to you because it's always bothered me. That's a little different. That's a different personality. Come, sit, have a cup of tea with me. Let's talk about how wonderful you've become. Paradox, choice, present time. It allows you to begin to rearrange a whole lot of things where that gift of I'm not okay begins to have an opportunity when brought into present time and observed in present time. You realize that in my earlier example in the introduction, that candy bar that was stolen, it's like, wait, I was 5 years old. And yeah, I'm not going to do that again. And I can let that experience go. In the fourth dimension, the ability to recognize a different reality and allow the emotion to be dissipated, short-circuited, dissolved, without the baggage, is very much available in this fourth dimensional reality. Third dimension and fourth dimension overlap. And so the choice is very possible in fourth dimension. It is very rigid and impossible in the third dimension. Understanding this fourth dimensional space provides a doorway to assess yourself, rearrange your reality. I could tell you that if we could go to your deepest, darkest secret, the thing you are most embarrassed about, the thing you never want to own, the thing back here in that backpack that really makes you very nervous, if they knew how bad I was, I guarantee you, if you and I went to visit that event and we walked around it one time, when we get back to the beginning, the event never happened the way you think it happened. It did not happen that way. So as you give yourself permission, big word, flexibility, fluidness, mobility, stepping into a fourth dimension, giving yourself permission to look at your past as history and begin to remove the emotion as you bring it into present time, you're going to find the realities that you thought you had, one, are insignificant and unimportant to keep carrying around in your backpack, and two, actually didn't even happen the way you think they happened. So would that be a useful format? And you're not convincing yourself, you're just simply stepping into a present time. Now remember when we spoke earlier about certainty and capable and focus, those kind of vibrations become very available to you in this fourth dimensional platform. The fourth dimension and the fifth dimension also overlap. The fifth dimension is very, very different than the third dimension. See, the fifth dimension is very fluid. The box is very dynamic. The rigidness almost doesn't exist in the box. The only rigidness is to provide structure to support the form to have the experience. But with regard to the vibrations and the emotions and the thoughts, the fifth dimension is all about well-being and beauty, graciousness, dignity, respect, integrity, the ability to appreciate and enjoy. It's very much a space that cannot be understood from the third dimension. Oh, the words are heard, spoken, beauty, oh, it'd be so nice. But in the fifth dimension, you live beauty. You live this smile from within the heart. Kindness, respect, dignity are a state of being. This is where the alchemy of creation begins to be very real. This is where you hold your hand out and the apple appears because you intend it to appear. This is where you create the reality that you think. You hold in the vibration of an intention of beauty. And the beauty comes to you. Present time begins to have even a different configuration. There are 5 aspects of present time, 5 different kinds of present time. And when you begin to play in present time as application, you begin to have a creative opportunity to have that apple begin to manifest as you would like it to manifest. But right here, the real key, as we will talk more with these tools in the next few presentations, the key is to begin to recognize that you can step out of that third dimensional space, that you can begin to hold feelings and thoughts of certain and capable, present. You can begin to recognize choice rather than rigidity, resistance, reaction. You can begin to create a structure where in present time you choose the reality, the actions that you would like to engage in, and allow the noise very much to pass you by. The noise begins to be very clearly Shakespeare's theater out there, and I'm okay right here. Choice, do I choose that or do I choose this, in a state of pause and then enjoyment into the step of choice. This aspect of time is something very useful to kind of understand a little bit more. So let's stop right here. There's your dimensions. There's the simplicity that the dimensions hold. But let's explore this aspect of time a little bit more.